What's up, you guys? My name is Aubrey and this is my channel, and today I want to talk about the Paycheck Protection Program. And in this video, I'm going to be walking you through the steps of how to apply for the PPP if you are somebody who is a solo entrepreneur, a gig worker, an independent contractor, or somebody that has an income stream but does not have any employees. So if any of those or more apply for you, this is the video you need to watch. So let's get started. So as you guys know by now, the SBA changed the PPP program recently to better serve people who have businesses but do not have employees. These people would be solo entrepreneurs like myself, people like YouTubers, gig workers, Airbnb hosts, Turo hosts, freelancers, independent contractors, self-employed individuals, really anybody that has a business but does not have employees. And even if you don't have a business, even if you don't have a proper LLC, this would still apply to you. You don't need an LLC in order to apply. You simply need to be able to show that you have an income stream outside of your regular W-2 job. Now, in summary, the big change that has been made here is instead of going by net profit on your Schedule C, the SBA is instead going by gross profit. So instead of basing your application off of net profit, which is the amount of money your business brought in after deductions, after expenses, and is oftentimes a negative number, or in some cases it can be a negative number, we are instead now basing it off of gross profit, which is the amount of money your business brought in before deductions and before expenses. This change is absolutely huge, and in a lot of cases will result in either being approved for the PPP if you're somebody who was once denied, or alternatively, it could result in you getting way more funds than you would have originally received through the PPP program. The problem though is that though this change was initiated a couple of weeks ago, there was no banks, no lenders, no online websites that were offering this new application with this new formula. Last week, I reached out to probably 10 different online lenders and I didn't get a response from any single one. But today I found a lender that finally had the updated application, and that is the lender that I will be walking you guys through step by step with today. Now, before we dive into the screen share, I would like to note that I do not have any affiliation with Lendio. I just really was doing a ton of research and trying to find an online lender that had this new PPP application, and there was very little to choose from, if any at all. In fact, Lendio was the only one I was even able to find. But I did do a lot of research on Lendio to see if they are a reputable lender, and they are a reputable lender. They are ranked quite high amongst online lenders for the PPP application, and they are a great route to go down. I know in the past I've talked highly of Cabbage and Bluevine. Both of these are good lenders, but neither of these offer the new application. So if you're somebody who's wanting to apply under this new PPP application, like we're talking about in this video, I think Lendio is for sure the way to go, but definitely do your own research if you don't want to go this route. So here we are with a screen share, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click on Start PPP application. Then once you click on Apply for the PPP, you're going to want to scroll down to the next page and you're going to be prompted to create your loan profile. Here you're going to have to provide your full legal name, your business name. Remember that for the business name, you either use your LLC name, or if you're somebody who's applying that does not have a proper LLC, you'll just use your first and last name. That is perfectly fine under that circumstances. Then you're going to want to do your mobile phone, your email address. Remember to have it be an email address that you do have access to, because they will be emailing you. Same goes for the phone number. They will be calling you, so make sure that you have access to that phone number. And then you're going to do your password. You're going to confirm that password, and you're going to agree to the following terms, which is just like a terms and conditions agreement. You're going to want to read that over and make sure you agree with everything. Next, it's going to ask you, are you applying for your second PPP loan? You'll either want to click yes or no. For this part of the kind of application, or for this example, we're going to click no. But remember that if you are eligible for the second round of PPP, meaning you can show a gross revenue decline, you've used up all of the funds from the first round, then you would be eligible for this second round, or you could be eligible for this second round, I should say. And in that case, if you're applying for a second round, you will want to click yes. But for this example, we will click no. This next section, once you click no and once you click continue, is your business information page. And here you're just going to have to provide some more information. You'll want to provide your business name. Again, if you're applying as like a solo entrepreneur, somebody that does not have employees, you will either want to do your first name and last name if you do not have an LLC. If you do have an LLC, you would of course want to do that LLC name, but it will be dependent on what your situation is. Next is your business address. Again, if you are somebody that does not have an LLC, just use your home address. That is perfectly acceptable. You will, of course, want to do your state and your zip code as well. Next is your DBA. This is doing business as. If you don't know what that is, or if it doesn't apply to you, just simply leave it blank. It is an optional field. Next is the business start date. So you'll want to do either when your business was officially formed, if you have an LLC. If you don't have an LLC, you just want to do whenever you started making money from that side gig or side hustle or income stream. If you don't know the exact day, it's not super important to have the date down to a T. Like if your business is 5 years old, or if you've been making money on your own for 5 years or 4 years and you don't know the exact day, that's not a big deal. I would just do like a rough estimate of around the time that you started, but you would want to put that right there. Next is business type. So here you have a few different options. You have sole prop, partnership, C Corp, S Corp, LLC, independent contractor, self-employed individual. Really, any of these are most likely going to be one of the ones that you would choose. If you have an LLC, it could be C Corp, S Corp, LLC. If you are somebody who is just on your own, it could be an independent contractor, a self-employed individual. It would really depend on what you would do. If you're somebody who receives like a 1099 from a company like Airbnb or Uber or Lyft, then you would be considered an independent contractor. If you're somebody that just works for yourself, you have like a business that you work on and you make money doing it, then you would be considered a self-employed individual. So you would want to select one of these that best applies to you. Once you select that, you will then have to provide your social security number. Again, if you have an LLC, you would provide your EIN. But because of the fact that we're applying for this from the perspective of somebody that does not have an LLC, does not have any employees, you would put your social security number there. Next, you will have to type in what industry you are in. You will simply begin to type, and then the application will start to kind of guess what you do. Once you do that, you will then go, has the applicant received an SBA, Economic Injury Disaster Loan, between January 31st, 2020 and April 3rd, 2020? You would want to put yes or no. Then once you do that, you scroll down, you'll have to say the number of employees you have, including the owners. Again, we're applying from the perspective of somebody that does not have employees, so you would just put 1 because it is just yourself. Do you have any W-2 employees? No. Again, if you have W-2 employees, which in some cases you may not have any employees but yourself, but you may be a W-2 employee, that is definitely something that happens. But if you're somebody who is an independent contractor, if you do not have an LLC, then your answer would most likely be no here. But there is definitely a possibility that you may only have one employee, being yourself, and you may be the W-2 employee. And in that case, you would want to put yes. But for this example, I'll put no. Then here is where we get the good part of this application, the part that prompted this entire video being created, the Schedule C income type. So it says here, you may use your gross income, line 7, or net profit, line 31, from Form 1040 Schedule C to calculate your average monthly payroll. Which amount would you like to use? If you are a solo entrepreneur, do your gross income. You can find that on line 7. You can see here, there is an example of a Schedule C. You can see where line 7 is located. That is where you will want to look on your 2019 or 2020 if you've already filed those tax returns to find that Schedule C, line 7, and then you'll want to plug in that number. For this example, let's say that my line 7 was $35,000. Then once you plug that in, you'll then calculate your average monthly payroll cost. Lindio makes it easy. They calculate it for you and they come out to $2,916 per month. The way they get that number is they divide the $35,000 by 12 because there's 12 months in a year, and that brings them to this $2,916 number. You'll then be asked, what year did you use to calculate your payroll? You'll then want to put either 2019 or 2020. In my case, I will put 2019. Then from there, you'll be asked about your maximum loan amount. So it's asking you how much you are requesting through the PPP. And the maximum amount that we can request with this example is $7,291. So I'm going to plug that in right there. Keep in mind, you aren't required to request the maximum amount. You could request a lower amount, but you just can't request higher than the maximum, and that's what's that used for. And then you would want to do, what are the loan purposes? Payroll costs, that's a requirement. You have to use it on payroll costs. You can also use it on rent and mortgage payments. You can use it on utilities, and you would just want to go through and you would want to click on the ones that you plan to use the PPP funds for. Remember, and I cannot state this enough, there are strict rules as to what you can and cannot use PPP funds for. So you will want to make sure to read up on those and to understand where you can spend the funds. You will then click next. The next section is just asking you questions. Just read through these questions and answer them as truthfully as you can. I'm gonna just breeze through this for the sake of time and for the sake of not being super redundant. Once you click next, you'll then be asked about owner information. Do you or any individual own 20% or more of the business, partnership, or sole proprietorship? In this case, you would click yes, because if you are like a self-employed individual, you own 100% of the business, and so you'll simply click yes. It will then automatically fill in 100%, and then you shouldn't need to edit it from there, and you'll simply click next again. The next section is where it's going to ask you to provide required documentation. Now, I encourage you to have all of these documents ready to go. That way it makes the application super easy. If you submit your application without providing these documentations, then you are going to make this entire process more prolonged than it needs to be. And as of right now, this program is set to expire at the end of the month, so you will want to get your information out as quickly as possible. So once you read this over, it's going to ask you for ID, it's going to ask you for payroll reports, business tax documents. Once you understand that, you'll simply click next. And then from here, you are going to be required to submit a ID photo, front and back. So a front photo of your ID, a back photo of your ID. Then it's also going to ask for a voided check. Now, a voided check can simply be a check that you write void on it. You can also request voided checks from your bank. You will need a voided check if you go through Lendio. Some other lenders do not require a voided check. Lendio does. I'm not exactly sure why, but as far as my knowledge, this is not something that you can go around. You have to have the voided check. Next, it's going to ask you again, does your business have any W-2 employees? It will automatically default to whatever you put earlier on in the application process. In this case, for me, I clicked no, and so that is what it has defaulted to. Of course, if you put yes that you do have W-2 employees, it would be defaulted to yes. Next, you're going to be prompted to provide your 2019 Form 1040 Schedule C. The next and the last page is the additional documents page. And here you're going to be prompted to provide some data that Lendio will use to verify your business's existence. You can choose any one of these options here. I would encourage you to do the February 2019 bank statement and February 2020 bank statement. All you have to do is go onto your bank's website and you download the bank statement and then you attach them here on the website. It is super easy to do. It's super straightforward. And if you don't have a business bank account, that's okay. You can also use your checking as well. You just have to be able to show that there was money coming in to your checking account from other sources outside of your W-2. If you can prove that, then you'll be good to go here. Once you fill out the application, a representative from Lendio will typically reach out to you relatively quickly. They have really good customer service in the sense that they will contact you once the application has been submitted. They will then contact you again once the application has been sent to an underwriter, and they are pretty transparent about the entire process. But that really is all there is to it. The PPP is a straightforward application as long as you have your tax return. If you did not file your tax return, then unfortunately you most likely will not be eligible for the PPP. If you work through a cash business and because of that it's not claimed on your taxes, again, you most likely will not be able to qualify. There are a number of reasons as to why somebody may not qualify for the PPP. But if you're somebody that has a business, you have your documentation, you have a revenue stream, even if you don't have employees, then you should be able to apply and be approved for the PPP relatively easily. Now, again, this is just one example. This is the lender that I found that had this new updated application. I'm not saying it's the only one out there. There are probably other options out there, but many of the online lenders do not have this new formula reflected on their website, and Lendio was one of the few that I was able to find. With that being said, you guys, if you guys have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.